On the morning of the 20th of October, 2025, many people woke up as usual only to find their familiar world on pause. The problem originated in a data center cluster called US East Negative 1 in Northern Virginia, a place engineers jokingly refer to as the heartbeat of the internet. This was the oldest and busiest region of Amazon Web Services, an invisible pillar supporting modern digital life. However, that very morning, this heartbeat began to erratically, a seemingly insignificant DNS resolution error, like a malfunctioning nerve fiber, quickly triggered a systemic seizure across the entire network. Within minutes, the effects of the outage spread like wildfire in the US. Venmo was unable to transfer money, and the Robinhood stock trading app's interface completely froze. In Asia, Netflix and Prime Video during prime time were rendered unusable. And in countless homes around the world, Alexa smart speakers became silent decorations, and smart coffee machines refused to work. This is not a scene from a science fiction movie. From social media platform Snapchat to team collaboration tool Slack, from gaming platform Fortnite to KTIC Exchange Calm, and even the UK's national rail ticketing system and parts of the Bank of Scotland services, all were paralyzed. Dawn detected an outage monitoring website, recorded millions of user reports of the outage, marking the largest simultaneous online service outage since the beginning of the pandemic. This event, lasting approximately 15 hours, revealed a truth we've long been reluctant to confront. Our proud digital civilization, upon which we depend for survival, is actually built on a few low, extremely fragile. That on which we depend for survival is actually the truth. When one of these tectonic plates shifts, the shockwaves spread across the world. This diverse outage is merely the tip of the iceberg. A more disturbing trend is that the ripples of the digital world are impacting our physical world with unprecedented scale and destructive force. Errors in code are truly evolving into physical disasters. The most typical example is the 2021 Colonial Paisley incident. The hackers didn't use any sophisticated, cutting-edge technology. They simply exploited a leaked DePIN and password to successfully compromise and shut down this vital artery supplying 45% of the fuel. The chain reaction was catastrophic for widespread fuel shortages in the southeastern US, long lines at gas stations, and average gas prices soaring to their highest level since 2014. Aviation fuel supplies to at least 5 major airports were affected, ultimately forcing the US president to declare a national emergency. To restore operations as quickly as possible, Colonial was forced to pay a ransom of approximately $4.4 million in Pike Thai, but this was only the direct law. Consulting firms estimated that the overall economic loss from each day the pipeline was shut down could exceed $420 million. This incident clearly demonstrates that Cyquark's issues are no longer confined to cyberspace, but have directly translated into a national-level energy and economic security crisis. Another even more cautionary case occurred in July 2024. This time, the culprit wasn't an external hacker, but a widely trusted insider. A routine software update by CrowdStrike, a leading global CrowdStrike company, pushed out a flawed configuration file, causing millions of Windows devices worldwide to crash instantly. Entering a blue screen of death state, the consequences were a global shutdown. Airline systems were paralyzed, with Delta Airlines canceling 7,000 flights and incurring direct losses, with Delta Airlines canceling $700 million. Banking transaction systems were disrupted, with financial institutions alone estimated to have lost $1.15 billion. And hospitals, media outlets, and various businesses were severely impacted. This case perfectly illustrates the systemic risks brought about by the high coupling of the modern digital ecosystem. When almost every industry relies on a few third-party service providers to ensure its core operations, even the smallest mistake by these providers can trigger a domino effect, causing a global cross-industry systemic collapse. Behind these shocking cases lies an ever-increasing, quantifiable economic loss. We must understand that the cost of downtime is no longer simply losing a little money, but an astronomical figure calculated in seconds, according to Ethics 2024 cost per hour of downtime survey. For over 90% of large and medium-sized enterprises, the cost of 1 hour of downtime exceeds $300,000. This figure is rising rapidly. Another survey conducted by ETIC found that 44% of enterprises reported hourly downtime costs exceeding $1 million, while for the top 23% of enterprises, this figure even exceeded a staggering $5 million in 20, resulted in nearly $100 million in lost revenue. Behind these cold, hard numbers lies a complex web of losses. The survey shows that direct revenue loss accounts for approximately 53% of downtime costs, but equally devastating are productivity losses, 47%, and, more difficult to quantify, far-reaching losses of brand equity and customer trust, 41%. When your service is unavailable, 29% of customers will directly switch to competitors, and 40% will doubt your brand value. All of this points to an unavoidable conclusion. We have entered an era where operational continuity is paramount. Here, an apt analogy helps us understand the shift in its strategic signature. A nation buys Patriot missiles not because they generate profit, but because they protect it from destruction. This investment isn't about return on capital, but return on survival. The same logic is becoming increasingly important in the business and infrastructure sectors. In the past, downtime was considered an acceptable operating cost because building a fully redundant efficiency was paramount and occasional failures were the necessary price to pay. However, as the losses from downtime grow exponentially, this equation is being completely reversed. We have reached a tipping point. The cost of downtime has begun to exceed the cost of building resilience. We are in the midst of a profound paradigm shift. In the past, we built systems to run faster and good well. Now we must build systems that can withstand hurricanes. This shift from pursuing ultimate efficiency to ensuring system resilience at all costs will reshape the landscape of technology and investment for decades to come. To understand why we are in such a vulnerable position, the best analogy might be the Suez Canal blockade caused by the Changi cargo ship in 2021. The Suez Canal is the most efficient route for global maritime trade, shortening the voyage from Asia to Europe by weeks, a miracle of globalized supply chains. But precisely because of this, it has become the most fatal bottleneck for global trade. When the Changqi, a giant ship resembling a floating skyscraper, became stuck sideways in the canal, approximately 12% of global maritime trade, and became stuck sideways in the canal, approximately 9% of global maritime trade. The lesson of this event is that a system over-optimized in pursuit of ultimate efficiency is often incredibly vulnerable to chaos and unforeseen events. And our internet today is facing a similar Suez Canal moment. Amazon, AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud control more than two-thirds of the world's cloud infrastructure. They are the Suez Canal of our digital world, efficient and powerful, but also posing a huge single point of failure risk. Core regions like AWS US East -1 are the narrowest, busiest, and most vulnerable channel in this canal. If it sneezes, the entire digital world catches a cold. Faced with this vulnerability, traditional solutions such as multi-region, redundancy, disaster recovery sites, and load balancing are essentially just reinforcing a few walls within a centralized castle without addressing the inherent risk of the castle's breach. These solutions have fundamental limitations. First, they often share a common connotations. Control plane. Many cloud providers, global services, even those deployed across different geographic regions, still rely on one or a few core regions for core functions, such as authentication, billing, or API gateways. For example, many advertised services depend on Virginia US East -1. If this core control plane fails, services in all regions may be affected, rendering redundancy ineffective. Second, they cannot withstand systemic risks at the software level. The CrowdStrike update bug in 2024 is a perfect example. No matter how many redundant servers an enterprise deploys, or how many data centers they are distributed across, if they all run the same flawed software, this logical level virus cannot be defended against by physical level redundancy. Finally, building and maintaining a truly independent, real-time synchronized redundant infrastructure is astronomically costly and extremely complex to manage. making it impractical for most enterprises, since patching things up within a centralized castle, catching it impractical for most enterprises, since patching things up within a centralized, since patching things up within a centralized architecture. A new paradigm called DePIN, the standardized physical intel works, has emerged. The essence of DePIN is to use cloud technology and token incentives to transform physical infrastructure, such as computing power, data storage, network bandwidth, and even NO into an open market jointly owned and operated by global community. Its working principle can be broken down into three core parts. One contributes. Anyone, whether an individual with an idle gaming GPU or a small business with spare storage space on their hard drive, can contribute these idle physical resources to the network. 2. Plone the idle storage to the network. 2. Plone the kaiwag acts as a globally shared, transparent, and immutable. It accurately records who contributed how many resources and who used how many services, and automatically executes rewards and payments according to preset rules. 3. Token incentives. In return, contributors rules the network token incentive work as native crypto token based on the amount of effective work they practice token, terminating intrusion on the open market. Future value. These three elements combine to create a powerful self-reinforcing cycle known as the DePIN flywheel effect. Initially, the anticipated future value of the tokens attracts early resource contributors who collectively build the network's infrastructure, the supply side. As the infrastructure improves and costs decrease, more and more users are attracted to use these services. The demand side, user engagement and payments further drive up the token's value and the network's reputation, enticing more contributors to join and provide more and better resources. Once this flywheel is spinning, it enables simultaneous organic growth in network size and value without the massive investments of centralized companies compared to fragile centralized systems. It is like the only beacon still shining in a storm first. Here is its resilience. The DePIN network has no central point of failure. It consists of tens of thousands of independent nodes globally, and the offline status of any single node, or even an entire region nodes, does not affect the normal operation of the entire network. As demonstrated in a hypothetical aberrant outage in 2025, while centralized networks were in chaos, decentralized networks like Paytm and Ethereum remained unaffected, continuing to stably produce blocks. Their design philosophy is for hurricanes, not sunny days. Second tier is its cost advantage. By activating and utilizing the globally idle long-tail resources, DePIN significantly reduces the capital expenditure of its infrastructure. Unlike Amazon or Google, which invest billions of dollars in building massive data centers globally, DePIN cleverly distributes these cost and resource requirements across the entire community. Finally, it's open and independently distribute the costs and resource requirements across the entire community. Anyone can freely join the network to contribute resources or use its services, following the protocol rules without needing approval from any centralized company. This not only greatly stimulates innovation, but also allows network services to reach marginal areas and emerging markets neglected by traditional service providers due to perceived lack of profitability. DePIN, to revolutionary nature, lies not just in its technological innovation, but also in its entirely new economic and collaborative model. Through tokens, it transforms the traditional adversarial or transactional relationship between infrastructure. In every gold rush in history, those who truly profited were often not the prospectors themselves, but rather the shovel sellers, who provided the prospectors with shovels, jeans, and services. The same logic applies to the next infrastructure revolution, driven by the need for downtime is no longer costly, making the migration to more resilient distributed infrastructure an inevitable trend. DePIN provides the most concrete and feasible path to realize this grand narrative. For far-sighted investors, a clear capital allocation map is crucial. We can structure this emerging ecosystem into three layers. From the relatively low-risk, high-certainty foundation layer to the cutting-edge application layer where risk and reward coexist. Layer 1. Cornerstone giants, providing core, hardware, and computing power, are the driving force of the entire ecosystem. Layer 2. Trust layer. Protocols providing key middleways and services are the bridge connecting the physical and digital worlds. Layer 3. Network layer. Specific DePIN application projects are the forefront of value creation. Layer 1. Cornerstone, midpointers and computing power and hardware in this layer. Besides the well-known NVIDIA, several other key players deserve attention, supporting the construction of DePIN and AI in hardy mentor, direct compete, advanced macro devices. AMD APO. AMD is NVIDIA's most direct competitor in the GPU field, and its Instinct series accelerators are being used by an increasing number of large technology companies. In new ADA projects as an Ultramudas, Mobile EAP6 as Tububidius, APIDA with new products such as the Mil B100X posing a strong performance challenge, build products such as the Mil BD. Investors seeking to diversify their AI chip portfolios. AMD is a top alternative. Core of network EMI Go Boy Long, Stock Co, AV Go. If CPUs are the brains of computing power, then network chips are the nervous system connecting these brains. Morlom dominates and provides switching chips. CUPS MX chips and NEDMOC connectivity some connecting these brains. Barlom nominates for building large-scale G-brainky compositors. Borluance as importance is increasingly evident as AI and DePIN demand higher data transfer speeds and bandwidth. The company has further solidified its position in the data center ecosystem by acquiring Beamer, as data centers Benteltafur and software solutions, the real estate developer of the digital world. Data center reads all computing hallway. Data center real estate, investment, trusts, REITs are the landlords of these digital factories. Equinix, ticker symbol EQ wins, and Digital Realty, ticker symbol DLR, are two giants in this field, owning and operating hundreds of highly interconnected data centers globally, providing hosting services to major cloud providers and large enterprises. Investing in these companies is equivalent to investing in the underlying physical assets of the entire digital infrastructure. Growth, whose business growth is directly related to the growth in data and computing power demand, and usually provides stable dividend returns. Secondly, trustly indispensed as companies, and secondly, trustly in the understood as companies that provide critical net markets. So trust layer can be understood as companies that provide critical NEMRU prestlu. They are MISTI providers that ensure the secure, reliable, and efficient flow of data in complex distributed systems. Acting as guardians of the system is normal operation, network performance and security, Cloudflare. Ticker, symbol net, Akamai. Ticker, symbol nets, Akamai. Its role is like an airbag and accelerator for the internet, protecting applications from attacks and ensuring fast access for users. Worldwide Cloudflare's services are crucial for any service that relies on the network to function properly, including DePIN Akamai, a pioneer in the CDN field, also boasts a vast global server network, helping DePIN's Akamai and Appraway. In recent years, Akamai has significantly expanded its cloud security business, making it a dual leader in both performance and security in Sevru Secure. Palo Alto Networks stock code Panwo as infrastructure becomes increasingly complex and destroying its security becomes paramount. Palo Alto Networks is a global leader in high increasing clinical walks, and destroying its security becomes paragraphs. Whether it's a centralized data center or a future distributed network, top-tier security is needed to defend against the increasing number of cyber threats. Third lay, network lay, leading DePINning projects. This is the most direct investment in the DePIN trend, carrying the highest risk but also the most substantial potential rewards. The focus should be on leading projects that have already established network effects, possess clear business models, and have strong communities. The following is a comparative analysis of leading projects in several core seg. Filecoin, with its token FAIL***, focuses on decentralized storage. Its core function is to provide verifiable, censorship-resistant data storage services for Web3 and traditional enterprises. It is the incentive layer of the IPA-PRIS protocol. Its market capitalization is approximately $1.09 billion, ranking among the top 3 on DePIN key. Data storage is a fundamental need of the digital economy with a huge market potential. Its FVM virtual machine has ushered in a new paradigm of programmable storage combining data plus computing. Risks: the economic model is relatively complex, requiring high levels of technology and capital from storage providers. It faces fierce competition from other decentralized storage projects like Arweaver and traditional cloud giants. The second project, Render, with its token Render, asterisk. Asterisk focuses on decentralized computing power. Its core functions is to connect creators to need rendering power, such as Phil Funker's game developers in Meyer Cree. Its market capitalization is approximately $1.26 billion, ranking among the top 2 on DePIN key. The opportunity explosion has led to a surge in demand for GPU computing power, and Render is actively expanding its network to the AI model training and inference domain. It has migrated to the high-performance Solana Tolak to improve efficiency. Risks: heavy reliance on NVIDIA's GPU supply, direct competition with centralized rendering farms and cloud giants. AWS Google HO, the third project, Bitsensor, with its token Teo, is dedicated to decentralized AGU. Contributors earn Teo token rewards by training and running API models, forming a kilometer global AI network aimed at breaking the AI monopoly of a few tech giants. It has a market capitalization of approximately $3.71 billion, ranking first on DePIN. Ambitious vision, aiming to build a more open and democratic AI future with enormous potential, unique smart architecture, and continuous innovation. Risks: the technology and concepts are highly cutting edge and complex, and the path to large-scale commercial adoption is unclear, facing intense competition in the AI portion as uncomplex, and the path to large-scale commodity. The fourth project, Helium, with its token HNT, focuses on decentralized wireless networks. Its core functionality initially focused on low-RAN networks for the Internet of Things, IoT, but has now expanded to 5G mobile networks. Users deploy hotspots to provide wireless network coverage for surrounding devices and earn HNT tokens. It has a market capitalization of approximately $360 million and ranks among the top 10 in DePIN key opportunity. It solves the high-cost problem of traditional telecom operators, last mile coverage, and network blind spots. It has partnered with major operators such as T-Mobile, validating its business model. The actual network utilization and generated revenue still need to be tested by the market. Its token economic model has undergone significant adjustments, which have sparked controversy in the community. Based on the above analysis, investors can construct different in the community based on the above and allocate. In serve, primarily allocate to layer 1, such as data center, layer 2, such as Cloudflare, as a bet on the long-term value. MALP primarily invests in layer 1 and 2 projects, while allocating a small portion, e.g. 5 to 10%, to leading layer 3 projects, such as Filecoin and RAN, to capture higher growth potential. Agresi, with a full understanding and the ability to bear high risks, primarily allocates to multiple layer 3 projects, using layer 1 and 2 assets as stabilizers. Before making any investment decisions, it is crucial to recognize that PayPal and the entire crypto industry are still in their early stages of development. In anti-freeze days, in DePIN and the entire crypto industry are still in their early stages of debation. In an anti-freeze stages of debation. Technical risks, such as potential protocol vulnerabilities, market risks, such as volatile crypto assets price, regulatory risks due to unclear global regulatory policies, and the risk of DePIN's potential adoption by mainstream enterprises and consumers. Currently, we stand at a critical crossroads. The fragility of centralized systems has been exposed, and the resulting downtime costs has been exposed. The migration to more resilient and open distributed infrastructure is an inevitable trend in technological and social development. DePIN provides today the most concrete and feasible path to realizing this grand narrative. For far-sighted investors, this is not merely a technological wave, but a profound infrastructure revolution concerning Omire and technostructure of the future digital world. Investing in this sector today means investing in a more open, fairer, and more reliable future internet that never goes down. The above content is for informational purposes only and does not constitute enforcement advice. Thank you for your attention and support.